In March, the Trump administration found out that the GRU, previously known as the KGB, was paying bounties to Taliban militia for the heads of US soldiers. And since then, Trump has moved to reward Vladimir Putin over and over and over again. If you still think Trump is pro-military, I would agree. He's just not pro-your military. Let's get into it.
We came to fight. We came to take what was meant to be ours. There's no place to hide.
The professional five-time draft dodger, old Professor Bone Spurs himself, is often hailed by his sycophants as a true military advocate. I mean, after all, he was willing to stand up against a make-believe attack on the military when that black guy decided to take a knee. And he chose to deploy troops weeks before a midterm election to the southern border to disrupt refugees arriving at a point of entry, as they are legally required to do so under UN law. But boy does he draw the line at having a conversation with his handler about the Russian GRU paying bounties to murder American soldiers in Afghanistan. Literally, he wouldn't even have the conversation with the Kremlin. When counteractions were presented to him, one of them was as simple as speaking to Putin and telling him to stop, but he couldn't even do that. Think about it. The Commander-in-Chief of the US Armed Forces is so incredibly feckless that he couldn't even ask Putin to stop placing bounties on the heads of US soldiers. Now, as I said, the Trump administration found out about this in March. Since then, Trump has tirelessly worked to try and get Russia back into the G7. He invited Putin to the White House. Hell, everything Trump has done since then has to be looked at through a different lens now. He knew Putin was placing a bounty on the heads of US soldiers when he invited Putin to be his guest at the G6 in America. He knew when he withdrew from the Open Skies Treaty. He knew when he told reporters in May that the US and Russia had a great friendship. I mean, it's almost like Trump doesn't care if your son or daughter was murdered by the Taliban militia. Then they were paid for it in blood money by Putin and his GRU. Keep in mind, this is the same Taliban Trump secretly invited to Camp David on the anniversary of 9/11. Maybe I'm not getting through to you. Think about it this way. The five-time draft dodger stands there and salutes coffins of US soldiers returning from Afghanistan. He stands on the tarmac and watches these flag-draped coffins be returned to America and returned to their families and salutes them, whilst all along knowing that through his own inaction and cowardice, he greenlit the murder of American soldiers for blood money. Imagine if that was your son, your daughter, your mother, or your father. You Trump supporters called it treason when Obama tried to give you health care. I wonder what you would call this. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe, and hit the bell so you stay up to date with all of our videos.